Ms. Sanders Fortier, to this point, you have served 4 years in the Alabama Senate.
Yes.
What makes you believe that you are ready to be this state's governor?
Well, I think that our state needs something new and fresh. And if you stay in politics too long, you kind of you tend to fit into what's already there. But if you're there long enough, then you have the information and knowledge base to do something different, but based on what is actually in place.
If you do become your party's nominee, you are going up against one of the most popular governors in the entire country. Kay Ivey has 62% of the vote right now, as far as people saying they approve of her. So even by the best standards, you have to say that you're on an uphill climb with this. Can you win?
Well, first of all, because my platform is based on the beloved community, right, which is about a big win-win situation. So I don't really consider myself going up against Governor Ivey. I've worked with her and have enjoyed working with her, quite frankly. I do think that we are in a certain moment in history that's different from other moments that we've had as a country. We, from everything that has been going around, we know that this is a different moment, and it is a David and Goliath kind of challenge. But I do believe that our state is ready for a new beginning. And we're going to get out in those streets and work those streets, because we have about 500,000 people who just don't go to the polls regularly, one way or the other, Democrat or Republican or independent. They just don't show up. And so we've got to give them a vision of something that's new and fresh, and something that will actually help them in their everyday lives. And that's what government is for. It's supposed to really give people the structure they need and support they need as they do the work in their own lives for their own success.
You mentioned something new and fresh. Either you or your opponent are going to make history, because for the first time, the Democratic Party will have an African American topping that ticket. What does that say about your party? What does it say about this time?
I think, so I was just in Kelly Ingram Park earlier today, and everybody knows that it's a historic park.
Of course.
And one of the things that I was saying there is, my grandmother couldn't be standing here running for governor. My great-grandmother couldn't be standing here running for governor of the state of Alabama. And I find it kind of interesting that it was a governor that our state is known for in terms of closing things. And I hope that it will be a governor that opens our state up. And we call that openness the beloved community.
All right. Regardless of who wins this time around, would you consider running another time?
Well, just honestly, I won't pretend that I know the answer to that question. I got in this race thinking, really, I was planning to run again for the state Senate, quite honestly.
Okay.
And I am a Christian woman, and in prayer, the Lord said, run for governor. So I am running for governor. And the Lord may not say that the next time, so so I can't make a commitment to that.
Let's talk about a suppose that you were to be elected governor, Democratic governor, most likely still going to be a Republican majority Senate and House. Within the Senate, you know that you would have a Republican lieutenant governor in charge of the gavel, because no Democrat is running. So when you consider all of that, how would you work with that kind of an operation?
Well, when I went into the Alabama State Senate, I made it clear from day one that I believe that working together really is imperative. There's just been too much fighting, not just in our state, but across the nation. And I feel like the American people and the people of Alabama, that they hurt when we don't work together. What actually makes healthcare possible, excellent healthcare possible, not just for low-income people, but for all of us. Because as a state senator, I began to look into how these things work. And really, Medicaid expansion doesn't just help folks on Medicaid. It actually helps healthcare and the quality of healthcare for everybody.
How does that happen?
Because so many of our hospital dollars are dependent on not just the individual who has private health care. Those hospitals are able to offer you more with private insurance because they also are subsidized by Medicaid dollars.
Well, is Medicaid then at the top of your priority list, or are there other ideas as well?
Well, I really believe that it's time for our state to heal. And I think that that has to happen on several different levels. Certainly, physical health care is one of those things. We have a lot of challenges in our state around our physical health care. Mental health care is a major challenge in our state. Medicaid expansion helps with both of those. But I think there are some other areas that we need to heal in. Also, education. I mean, there's just no way as a state.
Has to be up there.
That's at the top of the list.
Yeah.
We've got to have excellent education. And I believe if we care about our children enough, that we can work across the aisle to make that happen.
Everybody wants the best for children. It's the idea of how do we get to that level. Is that correct? Having worked in the Senate, you would agree with that?
I think that's true. But I don't necessarily know that we are all clear that it only works if we don't leave one single child out of the process.
And in order to change education in Alabama, we've worked on it. I've lived in this state for more than 40 years. We're still working on it, and we're not there yet. So what could you bring to the table that would be different?
Well, there are a few things. One, I believe in Alabama solutions for Alabama problems. We do have schools in this state that are in the top 1% of schools in the entire nation. That should serve as a model for us, for schools across our state. That's one thing. I think the other thing is that we kind of need to think outside of the box. We live in a moment in time when children can learn almost anything they want to on YouTube, right? So, and in a more hands-on way. I think we've got to change the way we do academics so that it's more hands-on, because children are different now. What they're used to in terms of their thinking and their brain is different. So I think we have to help children tap into their God-given purpose and not simply, math and science for the sake of math and science. I don't know about you, but even when I was a child, children would say, well, what do I need this for?
Yes, I think they're still asking those same questions.
And I think if we teach in a more creative way and we have a more creative curriculum, hands-on, where children are actually learning, we're getting a little more of a taste of that now with robotics and that kind of thing. I think we need to do that across the board in the different subjects.
Got time for one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want people to know about you that they have not yet heard?
Well, most of the things they've heard. I'm a wife, I'm a mother of children who attend schools in our state. And that is part of my inspiration. I want to see every child with an excellent education. I'm an attorney, and I went to school late in life. I went to law school late in life, right here in Birmingham. I went to school at the age of 40, actually, yes.
But you did it.
My husband and I, we went to the Birmingham School of Law here. I was pregnant when I got to school, and I was pregnant when I left school. And so I say that to say that I went to law school with multiple children, pregnant, and still made honors, right? And I think that speaks to my tenacity, that no matter the odds, no matter the situation, with God's help, I can make things happen.
Malika Sanders Fortier, we thank you so much for your time and for the fact that you do love Alabama.
Yes.